Hello everyone, this is Saurabh Sharma, and in this video we will be talking about the National Crime Records Bureau that has released a report of crimes in India, right, 2020. And this report is important, that will give us an idea that what is going on in the areas of crime against women, against people, how what sort of crime are like has taken an increment, and where it has seen the spike, and where it has shown the decrease. So this report is also important because the data given in this report, or with the reference of National Crime Records Bureau, can be quoted at many places without any hesitation, because it is the most authentic data Government of India is actually presenting to the people. And this report is also discussed in domain for many purposes, right? So this, before taking a look at the National Crime Records Bureau report, let's just look at the motto of the National Crime Records Bureau. It is written on your screen that envision, excel, enable. This is the general motto. And in the blue line, if you can see that, empowering police with IT, right? So here, envision, excel, and enable. This triple E is the logo or punchline of National Crime Records Bureau, with the empowering police with IT. So sometimes these statements can be asked without any difficulty, right? So you should also remember this. Now, what is this report saying about and the report title is Crime in India Report 2020, and it is released by National Crime Records Bureau. Okay, so if we talk about this National Crime Records Bureau, firstly, it is headquartered in Delhi, New Delhi, right? And it was set up in 1986 under the Ministry of Home Affairs, right, to function as a repository of information on crime and criminals. Simply, its work is to reposit or to have the data compilation about the crime and criminals, so as to assist the investigators in linking crime to the perpetrators. That means the profiling is also there. The data suggests that what sort of repetition in the crime, in which region, in which zone is there, which is helping the officers, police departments, and other agencies to make and plan the security arrangements, security installations, and whatsoever, right? Then it was set up based on the recommendations of the National Police Commission 1977 to 81, and the MHAs, that is Ministry of Home Affairs Task Force 1985, right? So on the recommendation of the National Police Commission, the period 1977 to 81, and the Ministry of Home Affairs Task Force 1985, they have recommended that there should be a National Crime Records Bureau that can compile the data, and that will help in recognizing the crime patterns and the criminals if they had any history sheets, right? Now, the NCRB compiles out the annual comprehensive statistics of crime across the country, right? And the report name as Crime in India Report, right? And it has been published since 1953. The report serves as a crucial tool in understanding the law and order situation across the country, and the safety of the people, and where the money in arranging the law and order situation and department wise expenses, whether they are working fine or not, right? So this NCRB report, the data, let's just take a look what it is saying, right? While 2020, a year marked by months of national lockdown due to the pandemic, saw forever traditional crimes such as those fewer traditional crimes, I'm sorry, such as those committed against women and children, because many, like most of the time, the civilians stayed at houses or at home, and the criminals also stayed at home, right? So ultimately it reduced the crime because no one was moving out. If no one was moving out, that means the issues like theft, road rage, accidents, any kind of molestations, eve teasing, smuggling, or other movements generally not recorded. No car theft, vehicle theft, or other type of issues are recorded, because it was so strict movement that people were under strict movement kind of condition could only move. So the nature of crime actually changed, right? How did it change? It changed in such a way that when people had to live in houses or at home for longer period because children were not going to school, offices were closed, and people were working from home. So in this manner, when the domestic interaction between the family members increased, that ultimately led to the confusions, resistance, and tension. Therefore, the domestic violence cases committed against women and children started coming up and rising. So the time and space, circumstances and situation decides what nature of crimes are going to be there in your premises, in your cities, right? So it's basically 2020 has seen a major spike in the civil matters or civil conflicts rather the criminal conflicts due to the free movement restrictions. All right, now 2020 has seen the jump in the numbers, right? How? Communal rights in 2020 saw the rise of 496%. That means in 2019 it was 438, but in 2020 it increased to 857. All right, just a second. All right. So there was an increment in this area, that communal rights increased. Caste rights also increased by 50%, right? Agrarian rights increased by 38%. Andolan Morcha rights increased by 33%. So, for example, the communal rights has seen the spike of 96%, let's say. Caste rights 50%, right? And the agrarian rights also seen, Andolan Morcha rights also seen an increment, promotion and enmity between groups also seen an increment, right? Total rights saw the rise of 12% increase. Overall, the total rise saw an increase of 12% in 2020 as compared to 2019, right? So overall there was an increment in the crime, but the nature also changed, as I said. Now, the key points according to the report, it suggests that the riots, that means the civil conflicts, communal rights registered an increase of 96% in 2020 over the previous years, right? And Delhi police alone registered the highest ones, that is 520 cases of communal rights in the year, and Uttar Pradesh did not record a single case of communal violence in 2020 according to the report. I'm not talking about any kind of news telecasted in the news channels. I'm talking about strictly with the outcomes of the report, that is NCRB given report, right? So Delhi registered the highest ones, UP did not register any. Caste rights saw an increase of close to 50%, agrarian rights 38%, and rights during Andolan or Morcha increased by 33%. That means this year, this 2020 also seen the agrarian rights or agrarian issues and Morcha issues or Andolan issues. That means whenever the agrarian issues are coming up, that means something is not going in favor of farmers or for the agriculture sector, there are problems. And when Andolan is coming up, that means the resistance between the general public and democratic institutions are coming at resistance. That's how you decode the issues, right? Then traditional crimes, the number of cases registered for crimes against women, children and senior citizens, theft, burglary, robbery, dacoity and other dropped by about 2 lakh. Thank God, at one section we have seen the decrease in the cases, right? Murder registered a marginal increase of 1%, even as offences falling under the category of violent crimes decreased by 5.5%. And Delhi is the most unsafe city for women. I don't know how long this tag is going to be with Delhi, but according to the report, more than 10,093 cases of crime against women were registered in capital in 2020. So Delhi is once again declared as the most unsafe city for women, right? You should get into the issue of why Delhi is unsafe for women, right? And if you try to analyze that, Delhi has a very small area, 1483 square kilometers. Delhi has almost 5 to 6 borders, entry and exit. And Delhi is not very big city to cross from one state to another from passing through the Delhi territory. Here, as you know, that law is the state subject, right? So once the law, the border changes, the law changes. So here at small place, when the where the concentration of population is such a massive one, so here committing crime and escaping the city to the other state, let's say Haryana at one end and Uttar Pradesh at the other end, is not a very tough task. So the easy entry, making a crime or committing a crime and making an escape, it is not that tough in Delhi, right? Because of the population, and Delhi has the total strength of population. That means like one police station, or let's say one policeman is taking care of somewhere about more than 10,000 people, which is not at all good ratio, right? So this ratio, how far the personnel can ensure the safety of the people. So here the personnel strength should be increased, or the conducive environment must be created, that the installation of cameras at critical points should be there, or removal of dark spots in the city is also one issue. Then the last mile connectivity and round the clock availability of safer transport system is also one issue, right? So that is why, and when people from almost all over the country are coming here, and the city is not now expanding in the horizontal manner, it is now expanding in the vertical manner, right? That means the flat systems are coming up in many areas, and here the urbanization has led to the less mingling among the people. This less mingling has actually created a situation where people are not even interested to meet people, and they don't want to know about anyone, right? Because like what used to happen 10 years back or 20 years back, that people used to know about each other, their background and something. So that would create a positive environment where intercommunication and knowledge about each other's background would be available, and that would work as the database for the police personnel even if some sort of crime has happened. But now it is not at all possible, because you have one camera and bell installed right at your door, and you have separate doors, or sorry, separate bells for all the floors, where all the people unknown to all the flatmates are living there. So someone has committed the crime, he escaped. If police interrogating, then the people living in the vicinity, they do not have any information, because the vertical rise of the city has removed all the scope of interaction between the people, right? So this is why there are some points that Delhi, why it is considered as unsafe for women. I just tried to give you some point, right? So massively it is the population, and at the other end the number of personnel as per the total number of people, it is considerably low. Then environment related offenses, that means in the environment category, the cases increased by 78.1% in the country. This is a big problem, that environment related convictions are going high, or the cases are going high. So that means the attitude of people towards the environment is not yet coming up or covering up, hence it is a problem. Cybercrime increased from 3.3% in 2019 to 3.7% in 2020, marginal rise. Then offenses against state, there is a significant drop in cases related to offense against the state, with a drop of 27% over 2019. Good news. UP, however, was the only major state to record an increase in this category, mostly due to the large number of damage to public property, right? Cases registered by the state, and many of them during the anti-CAA, that is Citizenship Amendment Act, and protest. What government did, that government actually started recovering the state losses from the private property of the people. Like government is now forcing the like forceful sale of the private assets of the people who found to be involved in the cases against the state. So these are the things going on in the state or in the country. Then offenses against the states include like sedition, waging war against the nation, those falling under the provision of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act UAPA 1967, Official Secrets Act 1923, and Damages to the Public Property Act 1954. So in this manner, this has led to the more and more number of cases rise against the state, because from all over the perspective, like somewhere somehow the citizens will definitely fall prey to any of the acts as I just said. So ultimately the cases will see a rise within this area. Now this has seen the issue. So this record or this reports data is ultimately important, because this data is worth to be quoted in many contexts, for social issues, for your governance aspect, for the interview part specifically, where you have to speak out about the data which is authenticated and related to the government reports. So that was about the NCRB report named as Crimes in India 2020, which is very important. Thank you so much.